Alright guys, that's Scrappy again. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. One of the big announcements of the upcoming season has been confirmed last night. One of the major changes that we expected to see over the last few months, but for some reason was never confirmed until last night. Crimsix, and therefore the OpTic Dynasty, officially all back together on OpTic. We saw the OpTic Legacy match a couple of months ago, and even what they did with the Dynasty walkout back in the World Championships in July. But Crimsix has not been a part of OpTic for a long time now. As of yesterday, that officially changes yet again. What does this mean for the competitive COD community? Because there's certainly a lot of nostalgia around the scene right now. Plenty of other big updates on the day though as well. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate, as always, enjoying your thoughts in the comments below. Starting with the following. Ranked play is getting an update very soon, as in like today, and these are the changes that they're looking to make. So Hacienda is in. That's a key thing to note for all of the game modes, by the way. Now Hacienda was not played for Control back in Black Ops 4 when it was first in the game, but in this game we need it desperately. So they are going to try it in ranked. The key question that I had yesterday for you guys obviously was, are they going to use it in the CDL yet? What's the plan going to be there? And well, we'll get the answers to that in a second. Now they have decided to pull the trigger as well on the other changes that we were obviously talking about with regard to gentlemen's agreements, right? Because the Krig, the Model L, the XM4, they've been used a lot, even though, you know, the AIMs, the AIMEs, whatever you want to call it, that's the gun that most of the pros are using right now because they've GA'd all the other weapons. Now, in ranked initially, the developers decided, okay, we're just going to hold out on that just in case the pros change their minds, which they don't tend to do. So those weapons are now gone. It's always controversial, right, because they've now banned the snipers entirely because this echoes what the pros have done. Look, is it good that when you load into ranked you play exactly what the pros do? Yes. Is it good that the pros get to set the rule sets for not just themselves, but also everyone in ranked across the entire world, when it may not be the best rule set to keep players around for various reasons? No. So, look, if I was Treyarch, I'd probably still have allowed snipers in, but I get why they want to replicate it. Same deal with the Sorg, probably. But, look, it is what it is. That's what Treyarch tend to do. They want to copy what the pros do, which also gives the pros a bit more power as well in terms of the decisions they make and makes it even more necessary, I would say, for the league to somehow step in and deal with this whole GA process. But whatever. This is Hacienda, and it is the same map, of course, as in Black Ops 4, but the colors maybe aren't quite as poppy and sharp, and there are some other changes as well. Of course, it was noted in the bottom right-hand side here that the doors in top middle are now closed, so theoretically you're able to open them, which is like, well, do we really need doors there? I would say probably not, but enjoy your thoughts in the comment section below. And then we have to talk about what it means for the CDL side, because reportedly, well, the CDL literally said this yesterday, it will be added following the second week. Now, this is an absolute classic. I don't hate this, just because, whatever, we get to see red card. I guess that's the map that's probably going to get played for a couple of weekends. You know, it's not the end of the world. But again, it's like for the pro side, you know this map is coming into the game on the 5th of December. You are almost certain it's going to be better. I mean, look, you can be 99.9% certain this is going to be better than one of the maps in the game. They could have probably put it in straight away, although I know the CDL has always suffered with that, just because the timings, like, they usually have to lock the rules in on the Monday before the Friday's matches, so it may just not have been possible with their process, but like, on paper, it kind of should be possible, but I understand why they're not going to go, you know, to such an effort of talking about it, and the pros probably want at least some stability, and at the end of the day, the pros have been practicing on red cards now, or whatever other map they're going to maybe replace for a good few weeks. Do they want to just, you know, come in and drop Hacienda immediately? I understand why the pros and, you know, the CDL said, okay, we're going to leave Hacienda out for a little bit longer, and look, it will be played post-Christmas, basically, right? So there's 2 weekends of qualifiers in the lead up to Christmas. After that, it's all Hacienda from there to the end of the season, including, therefore, the minor tournament at the start of January. That's going to be played for the first time really on Hacienda, it seems. This was also spotted by S&D Dylan. He then deleted it. But you guys can see on the right-hand side, this window here, and the hop-up seems to be open. Now, I think this is what it was when they remade Hacienda as like a nighttime map at some point. I think they changed this layout slightly And I think this was a perfectly okay change. Now, obviously, the original Hacienda didn't have this option. You could only get into this point through bottom middle, but it does open up another opportunity and possibly improve search and destroy as well, you could argue, at least in terms of the way that this particular site plays. So, yeah, Twitter your thoughts below on that one, because it seems like they're going to remaster this version rather than the other version. And that's what we're going to be playing in Black Ops 6 in the relatively near future. We also, however, got official confirmation yesterday from Gentlemates as to what their roster is going to be. Now, these guys, like, they have serious clout. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They put this out 9 hours ago. You know, it's got 10,000 likes, and announcing the new roster, of course, for the Gentlemen. And I don't really know what this whole announcement video is all about, but we get to the end, we do see the boys walk out on the top of kind of like the skyline here, and you can see the Eiffel Tower on the left-hand side, and here are the boys. Now, I don't know who made this graphic. It is pretty funny, and we'll look at a couple of screenshots here in a second. Of course, they play just tomorrow, right, for their first game. But yeah, they confirm their roster: Lynz, Skyz, Kismet, Priestahh. Now, of course, they are the Los Angeles Guerrillas mates or something like that, and it's pretty ugly. This is, I guess, the logo, which it could be worse. I guess it could be worse. But what I found funny about this is that Los Angeles Guerrillas, first of all, Gentlemates will not mention them at all unless they absolutely have to, and secondly, they've not even tweeted anything. I'm guessing these boys are just locked out of their Twitter account now because, I mean, Los Angeles Guerrillas are just so dead. I mean, here they are, 23rd of July, their most recent tweets. They didn't even mention it. It actually might be time to unfollow them, you know. Yep, there we go. It's time. But look, Guerrillas are still here, but literally in name only as it stands. But as we just saw there, aBeZy, ReeaL, Lunet as well. Of course, he's, I guess, French, right, joining the team in addition. But and then aBeZy and ReeaL, obviously, as like a double coaching situation. Thought that was kind of interesting as well. Obviously, ReeaL was linked at some point, I think, to be going to the Falcons. That never happened. They got Clay instead. So, yeah, aBeZy and ReeaL. It's a strong coaching lineup. ReeaL has history with some of these guys, of course, as well in the subliners days. And aBeZy has history with the Los Angeles Guerrillas as an organization. But, you know, they're not really part of this. It's just in name. And it just seems like things just took a bit too long, and therefore the league were like, oh, well, the deadlines and Guerrillas and all this. So next year, it's just going to be Gentlemates representing some team in some region, in some vicinity. We talked about Chicago being a possibility there, but it's too late for that now. But whatever. For this year, it's just about the roster. Next year, they're going to likely jettison entirely the Los Angeles Guerrillas branding. And yeah, I thought these bit of, you know, graphics they put together were kind of funny, especially this one from Kismet. I was like, the Bulldogs going absolutely crazy, but how good are these guys actually going to be? I think that's a big question. They've got massive support, and we can see it in some of the replies here. I thought was kind of incredible just by the strength of this team and organization. I mean, here's Skyz on, and I mean, like, look, if he was tweeting this out for Los Angeles Guerrillas, you think he'd be getting 2,500 likes? And, well, no, is the answer to that question. Kismet kind of says the same thing as well. Officially joined Gentlemates, super excited to showcase all the work we've been putting in. Je veux le fans, je suis le bulldog. I thought it was kind of funny, right? So, yeah, and obviously there was lots of French fans in the replies absolutely buzzing about this roster. Now, mainly they're buzzing because it's Gentlemates as a massive organization, but equally, from the French side anyway, but equally Lynz, right, who is there. Unfortunately for Gentlemates, it's not HyDra, right? I think that would be the ideal world. They could just run back that 2023 subliners roster, but it's not going to be that easy. And also, comparing to 2023, are Skyz and Kiz going to be as good as they were? I would say possibly yes. Priestahh, I'm not so sure. He had a difficult year last year. Is he, you know, he was pretty damn good, Priestahh, at times in 2023. Of course, they won 3 events, including champs that year. So, you know, want to give him the benefit of the doubt again, but I think there's still some debate on Priestahh. And then, you know, 99% likelihood Lynz is not quite going to be HyDra. He might still be, you know, he could be 80% of HyDra, but if he's not fully HyDra, winning is going to be a serious challenge. But yeah, I don't know what's going on in the background, but anyway, passionate ownership group, strong roster. How strong, we'll see, but they will be making a big impact on the scene, that is for sure. So I was happy to see that confirmation yesterday. But let's talk about this big story of last night, and that's Crimsix officially returning to OpTic Gaming. Now, the funny thing about this is this was leaked a long time ago, and there was a good few moments where I thought they were going to confirm Crimsix, because it just made quite a lot of sense, really. We saw Kremp walk out with the OpTic Dynasty back in July, play at the World Championship. They walked out, you know, Kremp had the OpTic jersey on. He was doing signings and stuff as, you know, in an OpTic jersey. We've not seen that from Kremp in a long time, with Formal, with Scump, with Karma, and all this happening at the time. Then, of course, more recently, the OpTic Legacy show match they ran between the Dynasty and between the current OpTic team. And Kremp was there. To be honest, I was expecting it to be that weekend that they said, look, Crimsix is officially back on OpTic full-time. We think it's been coming, but we weren't so sure, just because he races with the Rafa Racing Club. And, you know, there was some questions as to, okay, he's no longer part of FaZe, because I guess, you know, he wasn't really part of their vision, especially when Banks kind of came back. And obviously they brought in Kremp initially as like a sim racer for them on Rensport. Then Rensport as a game kind of ceased to exist, and obviously Kremp also wanted to do real life racing, and Rafa Racing Club were partnering with him to make that happen. So there was kind of no room for FaZe to really make that relationship work anymore. And obviously they've changed their direction, dulled down the number of content creators they have. And it's not like Kremp has history with an organization like FaZe. The history he has with is with OpTic, of course, and we'll get to that now. But this was back in September when it was mentioned in the article here, I think somewhere or another, racing with the Rafa Racing Club and reunited with his old esports team OpTic Gaming. So this was said back in September, and I imagine Hex wasn't so happy about it. And then yesterday we did get the confirmation that Porter86 is back on OpTic, and I thought this was just great for all parties, really, because when OpTic well, parted ways with Kremp, obviously he went to Dallas Empire, there was so much drama back then, not even just between Scump and Kremp, which there certainly was, but also even outside of that, right, with the fact that Kremp was an OpTic for several years and the fan base had grown very fond of Kremp, but then after some of the friction went down internally at OpTic, he then leaves OpTic, goes to another team, and obviously a lot of the OpTic fans didn't necessarily follow Kremp, you know, they wouldn't watch his streams like they used to. I know that Kremp was getting frustrated, and I get it, on stream, and he had lots of words to say on OpTic fans and that organization and stuff like that at the time, because, you know, he felt like he was, you know, not being respected maybe by the fans that had followed him for so many years. And, you know, it's obviously a frustration at that point. He goes to a different organization. It felt like he didn't really want to be a part of OpTic. And then, of course, Formal comes back to OpTic. Karma was kind of always a part over there and is now properly part of OpTic, given that he's coaching the Call of Duty team. So I feel like it was only, on some level, a matter of time until time healed some of the wounds. And I think especially Kremp stepping in and doing more real life stuff, certainly the racing thing, I think has helped him kind of realize and come to terms with how important that kind of gaming community has been for him. And, you know, the fact that he wants to be back part of it again, certainly in an organization like OpTic. So I thought it was great that some of the wounds that were there over the last few years have been able to be healed, and Kremp is now back with OpTic into the future. So they confirmed this in a process episode last night. I thought it was really nicely done, and just to see some of these images, right, and some of the nostalgia associated with it, to see the Dynasty team kind of like before they were the Dynasty, of course, way back in the day, and then most recently the OpTic Legacy match that they absolutely dominated, and you know, to see Kremp fit as well, because obviously he's been racing, so he's got to be in good shape, and wearing an OpTic jersey again. I think it's just a cool thing for the community, and it makes an awful lot of sense, I think, for both parties. Kremp can be part of OpTic. We can get more Dynasty reunion podcast. We can now get Kremp being kind of like part of the program over there from a content side. And look, Kremp's obviously going to be racing. We know that Hex likes his racing as well, so there is that side of things. I'll also say, as I said for some time with Karma, if you've got Karma as part of the organization, I think you would be foolish not to use him as part of your competitive product on some level. And that's what Karma's now decided to do, coaching. Now, is Crimsix going to coach or assistant coach or anything? Unlikely, probably not. But is he going to get in a call with Dashy from time to time, or a call with whoever on the team and talk mindset? Maybe that's, you know, a benefit that they could have. Obviously, you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen, but it's like when you've got Scump, Formal, Kremp, and Karma still as part of your organization, you know, you'd feel like they should be helping out the main team at least on some level, in some small part. Obviously, Scump's doing his own thing, but he's still part of that process on some level, talking to the players from time to time. Formal's doing his own thing. We're expecting the Halo announcement soon, and then Karma's already part of it. But I thought it was great to kind of see this partnership really back in business, right? And this from Brian Stats as well. Crimsix won champs with Evil Geniuses. Left EG, joined OpTic, won champs with them. Left OpTic, joined Dallas, won champs with them. Retired, raced cars, joined FaZe, left FaZe, and now he's back at OpTic, all before GTA 6 has launched. But hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.